Think of the rally that your team had in the fourth quarter, particularly when it comes to Caitlin. I think she made 5 threes in that fourth quarter, more than our first 2 games combined. So just your thoughts on the resilience from her.
I thought our whole group showed resilience, in that rally. We showed the ability to make tough shots. We had some really good time and score execution moments, offensively and defensively, in those moments. We just have to have more of it consistently.
That's the question. That's the answer. And that's the moment Indiana Fever fans started asking what is actually going on with this coaching staff. A reporter just handed Stephanie White the easiest layup of her career. Praise the rookie who dropped 17 points in the fourth quarter on 75% shooting. She passed it up. Again.
She's the reason we won this game. I don't think I heard that before. And if it was any time to do that, it was this game right here, Steph. Look at what Caitlin did in the fourth quarter. I mean, she shot 75%, knocking down 17 points in the fourth quarter alone. Come on, man. Caitlin Clark was cooking in this game. And then when we think about the first quarter, they were up 14.
Look at what actually happened in that game. The Fever were up 14 in the first quarter. Caitlin Clark sits down. The lead evaporates. Indiana has no second unit identity, no offensive flow without her on the floor. So she comes back, she logs heavy minutes, and in the fourth quarter she becomes the entire offense. 5 threes in a single period, more than the rest of her teammates combined. That was a one-woman rescue mission. And the head coach's takeaway was a paragraph about our group's resilience.
It's speechless, really. She was 0 for 7 in the first half and 4 points, and just put us on her back. Made big shot after big shot, big play after big play. She didn't settle. She stayed aggressive, and she willed us.
Now that sounds like the sentiment you should have had about Caitlin Clark.
Same coach, different night, different player. Listen to that vocabulary again. Speechless, she put us on her back, made big shot after big shot, she willed this. That language exists in Stephanie White's playbook. She knows how to praise a player by name, specifically, with conviction. So this isn't about her being a stoic coach who never hands out compliments. It's about who she chooses to compliment and who she doesn't.
Even care about it. But you think about those coaches, right? Gino, Pop, who used to coach for the Spurs. You think about Steve Kerr. You think about the coaches that are kind of hard. I don't think Steve Kerr is that hard on his players or whatnot, but he is real. He becomes real at times, and they all can give praise where it's due in a game. Even when they don't necessarily want to answer questions like that, or when they don't necessarily give.
Think about the coaches who get held up as cultural standards. Gino Ariema at UConn, Greg Popovich in San Antonio, Steve Kerr with the Warriors. These are not soft coaches. They demand the most from their stars, and they hold them accountable in public. But every one of them knows the moment to step to the microphone and say that player carried us tonight. Steph Curry hangs 40 on someone. Kerr says it on the record. Tim Duncan goes for 25 and 15. Pop says it without flinching. There's a leadership skill in giving credit when credit is undeniable. And right now in Indiana, that skill is conspicuously missing on one specific subject.
So listen to this.
I feel like the hardest thing as a basketball player is when you're not making shots to really stay in it. So I'm certainly proud of myself. Really, really battled. And a lot of those shots are very, very makeable. And I finished really well around the rim and 2-point area to start the season today. I didn't finish well in the 2-point area. Like obviously 7 for 17 from 3. Obviously I got a lot up with how the game was played out. But happy with the way I shot from 3. From 2, I need to focus around the rim a little bit better. As I said earlier, all of us need to do that, but it starts with me. And, if we don't have 3 clunky quarters, we don't.
And this is where the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. Clark is grading herself harder than any coach in the league would grade her. 7 for 17 from 3, and she's frustrated about her finishing at the rim. She's calling out her own 2-point efficiency. She's volunteering accountability that nobody asked her for. Meanwhile, the head coach standing 30 feet away cannot bring herself to say 4 words. Caitlin carried us tonight. That's the imbalance. The rookie is showing more leadership at the podium than the veteran coach who's supposed to be developing her.
Caitlin Clark called it all out with the missed lays, missed bunnies. Look at this, man. She got blunt.
Some to go down. So, we're getting great looks. We still shot 40% from the field, but We miss way too many bunnies around the rim. We talked about it at halftime. Probably should have talked about it after the game, but like, should never shoot 39% from the field and 40% from three. Like, at the end of the day, it's gonna be really hard to win basketball games. But we still scored 102 points, so it all comes back to our defense and the way we're able to defend. But hey, we fought through the fourth quarter. We fought, we clawed back. I thought we were gonna be able to get them in overtime, and honestly, more than anything, shout out to our fans. Fans were amazing. They're a huge reason of why we were able to get back in this game. But
Listen to that tone. That's not a player making excuses. That's a player diagnosing the team's actual problem. 39% from the field, missing bunnies at the rim, forcing themselves into what she literally calls basketball heroics because of 3 clunky quarters of bad execution. That's a post-game quote with real basketball substance in it. Compare that to we showed the ability to make tough shots. One of these people is doing actual analysis. The other is doing public relations.
Wondering if Stephanie White actually hear the noise or see the noise that's been said about her on Twitter, YouTube, wherever it's at, that she needs to be fired, that they don't like her. Some of the fans don't like her. I wonder if she's hearing that noise. The reason is making it hard for her to give the praise to Caitlin. I'm hoping that's not the case, and it's kind of stretching, right? But yeah, I hope that's not the case. Don't allow what the noise is outside of the team to cloud your judgment, to change you as a person. Give the credit where it's due, man. Give Caitlin that.
Here is what this is actually about. It is not about Caitlin Clark's feelings, because she has made very clear, repeatedly, that she does not care about individual recognition. She cares about wins. She cares about hitting shots in the fourth quarter. She cares about getting the Fever into the playoffs and going deep. The praise question is not for her. The praise question is for everybody watching. It is for the casual fan who tuned in for the first time this season because they wanted to see the player who is single-handedly responsible for the WNBA's ratings explosion. It is for the local Indianapolis viewer who sat through 3 clunky quarters of basketball and watched their rookie superstar single-handedly drag them into overtime. It is for the longtime Fever fan who has waited 15 years to be relevant again. Every single one of those people watched the same fourth quarter, and they all came to the same conclusion. Caitlin Clark carried that team. And when the head coach steps to the microphone and refuses to use those words, it sends a message. The message is not "I am being a stoic professional." The message is "I am uncomfortable saying out loud what just happened in front of 15,000 people." And the question becomes why? Because it is not a question of skill. We watched Stephanie White praise Kelsey Mitchell with the kind of language that football coaches use about Hall of Fame quarterbacks. The vocabulary is there, the instinct is there, the willingness to single out an individual is there. It is selectively absent for one specific player, and that selectiveness is what fans are picking up on. That is what is fueling the calls for her job on Twitter, on YouTube, in the comments under every Fever post-game video. Whether those calls are fair or unfair is a separate conversation. But the people making them are not crazy. They are responding to a pattern they keep seeing with their own eyes. Now there is a possibility this is something deeper than personality. There is a possibility Stephanie White is hearing the outside noise, the criticism, the fired coach chants, the constant comparisons to other coaches around the league, and she is hardening herself against giving the fans what they want. That would be a leadership failure. You cannot let the volume of the criticism dictate whether you tell the truth about your team. If Caitlin Clark carried you tonight, you say it. Even if social media has been brutal to you for 3 weeks, especially then. Because the only way to flip a narrative is to be honest about the basketball. There is also the possibility White is trying to protect her veterans. That she is worried about the locker room dynamics of singling out a rookie too much, too loudly, too often. That she is trying to balance an ecosystem of established players who all have egos and contracts and stat sheets to defend. That is a legitimate concern for any coach. But there is a difference between protecting your veterans and erasing your superstar. Gino Auriemma never erased Diana Taurasi to protect the rest of the UConn roster. Pop never erased Duncan to protect his role players. The trick is to do both, acknowledge the rookie publicly and reinforce the team privately. White is currently doing neither effectively. She is publicly underselling Clark, and the team still has no second unit identity to show for it. The deeper issue, though, is what this means long-term. Caitlin Clark is going to be a free agent eventually. Caitlin Clark is going to have her pick of franchises, coaching staffs, and front office support systems when that day arrives. Every interaction, every press conference, every quote that does or does not happen is being filed away by her camp. The Fever organization should be in maximum protection mode of that asset. They should be selling Indianapolis as the ideal long-term home. Instead, the head coach is giving press conferences that fans, analysts, and almost certainly the player herself are noticing as conspicuously cold. That is not a healthy long-term picture for the franchise. And consider the cultural piece of this. The WNBA is in the middle of the biggest growth moment in its history. Television ratings are unrecognizable from 2 years ago. Arenas that used to be half full are now selling out in markets that didn't even have a team. There is one primary driver of that economic shift, and her name is at the top of every box score the Fever play. When the head coach refuses to acknowledge that player by name in a fourth quarter where she basically saved the season, even for one night, it doesn't just look bad inside Indianapolis. It looks bad across the entire league ecosystem. Other coaches are watching. Other front offices are taking notes. Other players are absorbing how the most important rookie in league history is being treated by her own bench. So the question I want to leave you with is this. If you were running the Indiana Fever, if you were the general manager, the team president, the ownership group, and you watched that press conference, do you say something? Do you pull your head coach aside before the next game and say next time Caitlin drops 20 and a half, you say her name out loud, you tell the world she carried us, and you do it on camera? Or do you let the head coach keep coaching the way she wants to coach, and let the chips fall where they fall? Because the answer to that question tells you everything about how this season ends, how the offseason plays out, and whether Indiana is going to look back 5 years from now and wonder why they lost the best player in their franchise history. Tell me where you stand in the comments. Are you Team Stephanie White, who deserves the benefit of the doubt and has earned the right to coach her way? Or are you Team Caitlin Clark, who carried that team and got nothing but a generic team compliment for her trouble? Drop your take below. Hit the like button if you want more breakdowns like this one. Subscribe if you are new around here. And I will see you on the next one.